FHA, you could always do 3.5% owner occupied on a 3 to 4 unit, but it required the building to be self-sufficient. So let me explain that the best I can to you. What it is if you bought a FHA 4 unit for $500,000, you could put 3.5% down, but the building has to cover the mortgage payment. So what that means is you take all 4 rents, even though you're going to live in one of them, you take all 4 of the rents that the appraiser is going to calculate the value of those rents. And then, or you can use the leases, the lesser of the two that's already in the building. And you take 75% of all 4 rents, and that number is the max your mortgage payment could be. So it can't be $1 more than that. So basically they're saying if there's a vacancy of 1 unit being not rented, the other 3, the 3 units would cover the mortgage payment in case something went wrong. And there's no exceptions to that rule. So nowadays with the prices going up and the rent's not going up as fast as the prices, the rents are that calculation fails 99 times out of 100. So people were like, there's nothing you can do. You have to buy the rate down. You have to get cheaper insurance. You can't change the taxes. You can't really change the price. So it was a lot of those would fall through and they would just fail what's called a self-sufficiency test. So that's why this program's great. Now, this program has some unique weirdness to it also, but you have to be an owner occupied. If you are currently have a proof of rent that you've been renting for the last 6 months to a year, and you have experience in the last year on your tax returns as a landlord. So let's say you own a condo in Florida and you live in Chicago and you're renting that condo on your tax returns, then you are able to use 100% of the other 3 units rent of a 4 unit. And they assume that you live in the nicest one. So it's the cheapest 3 units. You can use 100% of those rents and add that to your income. If you only have proof of rent and no rental experience, you can only use enough of the rent to offset the mortgage payment. So that's the rule on that. If you don't have any proof of where you live right now, like verification of rent or mortgage, and you don't have rental experience, you can't use any of that rent to qualify. So that's the downside to this. But if you make a ton of money and you want to buy a 4 unit, you don't need the income added to your thing, you don't have any of those things, it's still a great product because it doesn't have to pass a self-sufficiency test like FHA. So that's the bonus of this new product. 5% down, you can use gift funds, you go to 50% DTI. It does require 6 months reserves in the bank after you close because it's kind of like an investment property. Now, the old conventional rules used to be 15% down for a 2 unit and 25% down for a 3 to 4 unit. And that's what the change has been. And now it's 5% for 2 to 4. And that's the good thing. And if you wanted to do a non-occupied co-borrower, for example, then they're going to go back to 25%. So they're going to assume that that person's using you to buy the house and they're going to want 25%. So you can't have a non-occupied co-borrower for this. It's just for you and yourself. And same with FHA. So if you want to buy a house FHA, owner occupied, and you use the non-occupied co-borrower, they want 25% down. And that's kind of the skinny of that product. And I just want to make a little asterisk. We're still learning those weird guidelines about adding the rental income on the conventional 5% down. But the way I read it 10 times over and over, asked some reps, and I think I've got it right, but I could be wrong, but we'll keep you updated on that. So Dale, you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, so Alex, I got a guy looking right now. He's got no experience as far as multi-unit properties, but he previously was a homeowner. So he, and obviously, as we all know, he can't get anything FHA because it always fails at self-sufficiency tests.
Right.
So if he wants to go in and buy conventional, the fact that he hasn't owned a multi-unit previously, he's not allowed to factor in any of the rent on that building into his debt ratio calculation?
It doesn't have to be a multi-unit. It has to be any rental, any kind of landlord experience at all, recently too. So
okay.
You could now if he could verify where he's lived for the last 12 months, like he's renting or has a mortgage right now, then you can use you can offset the mortgage payment with the rents.
You can offset the mortgage payment with the rents.
Yes, but that's it. You don't get to add the income. You don't get to add the excess.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
But so look, for everybody out there, if you're getting, for simple math, if you're getting $1,000 a unit for 4 units, you're going to take 75% of that for 3, and you're going to offset the rents, or excuse me, the mortgage, right?
Yeah.
It's
Hold on.
not,
Hey, we have some background talking. Can you guys mute yourself? So yeah, so if so you definitely can't utilize this thing to have it qualify for itself for sure. You know, it's like, oh, that's another rule I want to talk about. FHA, well, conventional, you can't, but you can, people will always call me for this. They always want to buy a 4 unit and they make $5,000 a year, but they got good credit. They want the building to pay for itself. It never really works out that way. They don't let you do that. You can't have a building pay for itself and go conventional with 5% down. It doesn't work out 99% of the time anyway, but a lot of people think that that's an angle that they can take. You have to have income to buy these properties. Have you heard of that, Dale?
Alex,
Yes.
I got another one that, so I've got a client who 4 years ago, I helped her buy a 4 unit FHA before the self-sufficiency test was in place the way it is.
Yeah.
So that's gone really well for her. She's lived in the property for 4 years. Now she wants to buy another 3 unit in the same town. She likes where she lives. She likes how it's going in the property that she's in. She wants to move into the 3 unit. So she's got experience. She could show it on her taxes, and she wants to go in 5% down on the other property, but it's in the same town. And you know how FHA is with the 100 mile rule. I don't know how
Right.
conventional would be on this.
No. So I think conventional is only thing you're not getting to a second FHA loan. That's a second FHA loan. If an underwriter is looking at your file, this is the same with a single family home as it is as a 4 to a 3 unit. So the underwriter is going to determine, is this person really going to occupy this property? That's all they're going to determine. So if you have an FHA loan on a 4 unit and you're buying a 3 unit, this is the first litmus test they do. So let's say they live in a $500,000 or $400,000 4 unit right now. They take that 400,000, divide it by 4 units, it's $100,000 a unit. If they're going to go to a 3 unit that's $100,000, that's $33,000 a unit. They're going to say, you're downsizing, you're lying, you're not going to occupy that property. Unless that place is right next to the work, they're saving an hour and a half on their trip, or it's some kind of ranch style where you're getting really old, you can't walk up the stairs of your old house. You have to really prove that you're going to live there. So they just have a little test, and
Right.
they determine, it's a judgment call. So going from a 4 to a 3 in itself, if everything else being equal, would be an upgrade because you have one less tenant above your head walking on the stairs or walking up and down and crossing paths in the laundry room. You know what I mean? So it's a tough call, but hopefully your per unit is going up, or the quality of the building is nicer and a better school system, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to
Well,
have,
the other side of it is the building she's in, she sees the opportunity if she departs it and what she can get for rents on the unit that she would vacate, in addition to what she's already getting.
I've never used that angle before, that she could really increase her income by doing this.
But
It's really,
like you said, I get it. It's case by case.
yeah, that's an underwriter's call. I mean, and I really make sure that the borrower sells me on it before I even submit that loan. I have to understand that they're really going to live there.
Oh, yeah.
Pull them out. I'll say, look, I'm on your side, but I think you're lying to me. You know, you're not going to live there. And then if they admit it, then I say I can't do it. But if they can really convince me and sell me, then you can submit that loan. And we don't want to waste anybody's time. We write a pre-approval because you're telling us something, and the underwriter has their ways. They just know, they pull things out of their hat that we can't think of as loan officers sometime, and they just will say no. And now I've excited a seller that thought they're going to sell their house, and they're buying a new house, and that person's selling a house to someone else, and so on. And there's 100 people in a row that are all falling apart because I wrote a pre-approval because I didn't do my due diligence. So when it comes to buying these multi-units, owner occupied, they're going to, the very first thing the underwriter is going to do when they open up that file, this person's lying. I have to believe that they're going to buy it, because a lot of people buy 4 units for investment, and they're thinking this is a great opportunity for them to make an investment with 5% down. So they're going to zoom in on that first. That's like the first thing they're going to terrorize. They're not even look at your income first. They're going to say, I don't believe this. And they're not going to waste their time looking at the file until they're convinced that you're going to live there. Now, if you don't own anything, no problem. But if you own multiple properties, you got investment properties on your tax returns, it's a tough sell. So if you're going from a 4 to a 3 unit, that's going to be tricky. It's got to be an upgrade. It's got to make sense. You have to have a story. It's got to be believable. It's got to work. Does that make sense, Dale?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree. The other thing we got, and to everybody listening, you know, this is still a fluid thing where we're learning here. I
Right.
mean, and we'll probably get back to it, more information. But we want to double check on the reserve requirement. I did talk to an underwriter. They couldn't find anything that said 6, but that doesn't mean that underwriter is necessarily right either. I think the
Right.
underwriters in our industry are trying to, this is new to them
Right.
as well.
Right. Again, nothing solid. It's still fluid learning experience. I haven't submitted one yet, so I haven't been through the underwriting process. I've talked to a lot of investors, and this is what I'm coming up with so far. So I think it's something pretty solid that you can go on for now. Give us a call and tell us your situation. We'll try to tighten it up for you for your specific situation.
I'm probably on my first one that I submit because it's such a new thing and we don't have any any past experiences that we can lean on specific to conventional. I'm going to submit my first one probably as a TBD and just, with all the factors involved other than a specific property and see how the underwriter reacts to it.
Right.
And share that with everybody on, one of our future live sessions.
Okay. Right, that's all I have to
Okay.
say about this topic. It's a short topic today, but it's a one product topic. It's a narrow range, but that's the skinny on it. It's a great new thing. We're getting calls on it, but again, a lot of investors are calling. That's what's happening.
Alex, I'm gonna say one last thing. This is a great product because if you're a young individual and you're out there and you're trying to get possession of some type of real estate in this market right now, we all know where the affordability index is and it's out, it's very high. It's tough for people trying to get in, but this is a great path to do so. And some people go in and buy a multifamily unit and they live there for a couple of years and maybe you leave and go into a single family home from there and you keep that as a rental property for passive income.
It's a great opportunity for the young people to fight this high cost of home right now, for sure.
Absolutely. If I was young, I would be seriously considering this.
I wish
fortunately, I'm not young though.
I wish I would have bought a bunch of 4 units when I was young. That's a great investment. Those things are hard to find. They're great investments. They're
hard to find. It's always nice to find a situation where somebody else is paying your mortgage for you.
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
Yep, that's all I have to say today. Appreciate you guys watching today. Please like and subscribe. It helps us help you guys. We're going to keep doing these videos every week. Hopefully we help someone out there find their house and get them in. So thank you very much. And
take care. Have a great week.
Thank you.